got a feeling I'm gonna see a lot of other bikes out today. Normally it's pretty cold right now, and it's like 60 degrees. It is so nice out. What is it? Yeah, 59 degrees. Apparently it's supposed to get up to like 65. Yeah, got my summer stuff on, my summer jacket and gloves, and it is a little bit chilly, but I figure by the time I'm out of the gym it'll warm up a little bit more by then. It felt great when I first got out there, and then it was like boom, that wind hit me on the bike, and it's a little chilly in this jacket, but it'll be alright. Not too terrible. I was at the gym yesterday. These other two guys on sport bikes rolled up. I hesitate on sport bikes because one was a 400, but I mean a sporty, small engine bike. You know, it's still a sport bike. It's still sporty. But I mean, I started on 300, and I love that thing. He had the 400, and then the other guy had a ZX6R that he rolled up on. He said it was like a 2021. And these guys are, you know, about 10 years younger than I am. But it turns out we went to the same high school. I told him when I graduated, and I guess his sister or something like that graduated like a couple years after me. I recognize the name, I don't know who she is. You know, one of those where it's like, I've heard the name, but I don't know the face. But yeah, it was talking to them for a little bit after the workout, and yeah, they seem like pretty cool dudes. Seem like some cool guys. I know the one that was on the 600 was talking about, you know, wanting to get a ZX10. I was like, man, you don't need this. Nobody needs this. I don't need this. A 45-year-old doesn't need this. No one needs a ZX10. You buy it for bragging rights, or you do like I do, of course, buy for bragging rights, so you can say you got a ZX10, but also, I bought it for cruise control. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, if the 600s had like actual cruise control on them, I would have got a 600, because they're significantly cheaper, like a lot cheaper. So it's like, I probably would have got a 600 if they had cruise control on them, but they don't. And I think all the 1000s do now. I'm not sure about the CBR, but I know ZX10, S1000RR. Actually, no, I don't think the R1 does. I don't think the R1's got cruise control on it. I'd still like to get another R1 though. I'd try to find one exactly like the one I had. I had a 2016 matte gray. I love that thing. I could just turn here, screw it. But yeah, I had like a matte gray 2016 R1, and that thing was awesome. Wildly uncomfortable. Hands down the most uncomfortable sport bike that I've owned. But just the sound, you know, because it's just unique. I was always a little unsure of the sound as to whether or not if I like really loved the sound of it, but I kind of did, but I kind of didn't, because I love that, like, you know, that screaming, you know, what this bike has. I love the sound of that high-pitched, just screaming sound. But that low-end grunt that R1 had, it was so unique that, you know, everyone who was into bikes, they knew what it was when I was coming around the corner. And that was pretty cool. I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh yeah, I was telling him he doesn't need a 1000. Yeah, no one needs a 1000. Like, the vast majority of people are riding these on the streets, and you're never going to see the full potential of them, except for cruise control. That's a pretty cool potential. The potential to be comfortable, so you can kind of lean back a little bit and not put all that pressure on your wrists. So I guess that's kind of cool. But as far as performance potential, man, you're not gonna use it on the street, but it is cool to say I got a 1008. Yeah, he was kind of talking also about how, you know, he likes going fast and he wants to go faster. It's like, I'll ride with him for sure. I always like riding with people, but I guarantee you, if we ever actually like ride together, I'm gonna be like the dad going, "Oh, slow down, son. Be dangerous. This is dangerous. Be careful." I'm gonna be that guy. I mean, yeah, when I was in my 20s, I did the same thing. I was like completely pegged out at like 160 whatever miles an hour on my CBR and just hauling butt everywhere I went. And now, I mean, I'll still get on it, you know, but I'm not gonna hold it. You know, I'll get on it and then I'll let off. Oh, look at the pooper. There's a pooper back there. You know, but I'm gonna let off after I get my little hit of adrenaline. But I used to just hold it out. I think that's just kind of a thing, you know, when you're younger. I'm not even that old. I'm only 32. I'm not that old, but there is quite a bit of a difference in maturity when, you know, you're looking at like, you know, a 20-year-old versus a 30-year-old. You know, the year difference isn't huge, but maturity level is huge. I'm not saying I'm mature. I'm not mature. I've just calmed down as far as wanting to just go, you know, 200 miles an hour everywhere I went. Kind of chilled out on that a little bit. But hey, you know what? If I'm going to be the dad on the motorcycle in the group going, "Everybody calm down. Let's just start calm down." If I'm going to be that guy, might as well have a brand new ZX-10. That way I'm not like, you know, the old guy on a 600 or a 400 or 300. Because I'm not gonna lie, I've seen that before and people just never take them seriously. You know, when you got a 25-year-old on an R1 and you got a 45-year-old riding a 300, people aren't gonna take you very seriously. No one's gonna listen to you. At least a 1000 makes it look like you have, you know, experience. Not a bad little ride. Oh, I forgot I don't have my other gloves on. They're a lot easier to get off. You know, I don't really like when people shove religion down everyone's throats. I definitely don't. I'm not an advocate of that, and I know of a lot of people who do that, and I don't like it. But that being said, I am a Christian. I do believe in God, but I'm not going to shove my beliefs down your throat. I think most people don't want that. You know, believe whatever you want to believe. Who am I to say that what I believe is right? Who am I to say that what you believe is wrong? I'm not going to sit here and try to shove what I believe down everyone's throats. And there's a lot of people who actually believe what I believe, and they still try to, you know, shove it down my throat. And I'm like, hey now, we believe the same thing. And I mean, even like, I come from a really religious family. My cousin is the pastor of our church, and he's not that way at all. You know, he's a little younger, I think that's why. Well, younger, you know, late 30s, I think. You know, so he doesn't try to do that, but there's so many older people that try to do it. Actually, I've met quite a few younger people that also do that as well, try to shove their beliefs down your throat. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm a perfect Christian. I could be better. I cuss a lot. And not to say that's necessarily a bad thing. I just think that for me, I probably shouldn't do that as much. But, you know, in the moment, you don't really think about it. But, you know, that's why I don't try to shove my belief down my throat. I'm in no way perfect. Screw up all the time. But I could definitely use to be, you know, everyone says, you know, I could be a better Christian. Well, not like, you know, to me, like, you could be a better Christian. you know, no one's saying that to me. But I mean, like, other people, you know, they say that about themselves, you know, I could be a better Christian. It's like, yeah, I could too. I definitely could, 100%. But I could also just be a better person and quit being kind of a douche, I guess. That's a good way to put it. And I'm nice to pretty much everybody I meet for the most part. You know, I'm not, you know, mean to people necessarily. But I talk behind people's back sometimes. Or, you know, not necessarily people I know that well. You know, I don't talk about, you know, those people behind my back. I'll tell them to their face, I don't care. But like driving in traffic, especially, I'll just be sitting in my truck and I'll just start yelling and cussing, even though they can't hear me. You know, I get really frustrated in traffic being a truck driver. So this is like a kind of a daily ritual for me, where someone makes me mad, cuts me off, which happens a lot. And I'll just start yelling and cussing kind of at them, to myself, sort of, whatever. It's like, I could probably use to not do that. I feel like it creates a lot of unnecessary stress. But probably chill out a little bit. And I think it kind of comes back to, you know, my beliefs of like, you could be a better person. I just think having something like that to believe in gives you, I don't know, kind of gives you a reference point. I think it's, you know, a good thing. You know, I don't go to church all the time. I'm not a big church person. You know, so I wouldn't say I'm super religious. You know, I'm one of those where I believe, but I'm not a church goer necessarily. I don't know, I just don't really get anything out of church. I grew up in church. I don't know, I don't really get much out of it, I guess. I'm glad I was raised in church, but like I also, as I've gotten older, I'm getting way less out of it than what I did when I was younger. Because when you're younger, you know, you're still learning literally everything when you're a kid. And now, I still got a lot to learn, but yeah, no. But I still like going to my church, though. I like going there and seeing all the people. You know, they're kind of a family. Well, not even kind of a family. They definitely are a family. I mean, I've known them all since I was born. It's a very small church, you know, that I grew up in. Most of the people there are older people. So I like going back to see everybody. I'll go to the picnics. You know, they have a lot of picnics throughout the summertime. I'll go to maybe 1 or 2 a year and just kind of go see everybody. And it makes my parents happy, especially because my mom, well, she's not a Sunday school teacher anymore, but you know, she was a Sunday school teacher for years and years and years and a youth group leader, which is crazy because I was very lucky in the household I grew up in. You know, me and my brother. My parents weren't overly strict with us. You know, they weren't your typical Christian household that, you know, you imagine. They basically wanted us to, you know, grow up in a church, so we, you know, had a little bit of a moral system to kind of look at. And I mean, by the time we were 16 and able to drive there, it's kind of like, hey, if you want to go to church, come on into church. If you don't want to go to church, we're not going to force you to go. And that was just kind of how they raised us. They gave us a lot of freedom. I think, you know, my parents, you know, they really did it right as far as raising us in church goes, because I know some kids I went to church with, you know, their parents really pushed religion on them, and they kind of, you know, they kind of backlashed a lot as they got older, kind of became some of the problem children, and then as adults, kind of, not all of them, but a few of them, strayed off pretty far from a good path. Not necessarily saying straight off from a religious path, just like, you know, a couple of them went to jail, got in all, you know, some trouble with the law. And you know, I just kind of think my parents, you know, they just kind of did it right. They didn't really shove it down our throats. They were just kind of, you know, we just want you to have like a church family, and we want you to grow up with that and kind of have good mentors. And that's kind of what it gave us, was, you know, some people to look up to. I mean, I looked up to my dad and my brother a lot, but, you know, it gave you other people to look up to, and kind of, it was a good church with good families, you know, so we got to grow up watching that, which was really good. And I mean, yeah, I'm a believer, I'm just not a church goer. And I'm not going to shove it down your throat, but man, I've had people come up to me trying to talk about God and Jesus and all that stuff, and it's like, hey, you don't have to talk about this 24/7. We're on the same side here. You know, but it is what it is. There's just some people out there like that, and if that's something they want to do, more power to them. That's fine. Just don't do it to me. There are people who are willing to accept that and willing to, you know, talk about that for hours on end and listen to you, but I don't know. I just kind of get bored with it. I want to talk about cars and bikes and watches and stuff. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's all I got. Okay, love you. Bye.